Hi there, my name is Kananelo Rathebe, and this is Something to Somebody documentary series, shot and brought to you by With Overflash Productions. Man, Kananelo Rathebe is really just a young man, from a beautiful town. People like to say small town, but I like to refer it as an intimate town because it's very warm also. So Kananelo is from an intimate town. This is Bethlehem Bushoko in the Free State. And he's someone who's very ambitious, someone who has big dreams. And I would best suitable name, I would say I'm an entrepreneur. I know it's a most likely used word, but I would say I'm an entrepreneur and trying to venture into modeling here and there and test the waters, see how it is. But the biggest thing that people don't know, or others they don't know, is I'm a broadcaster at heart. That is me. I've always been someone who loves broadcasting, someone who loves radio and live television rather. So that is pretty much Kananelo, an entrepreneur, an aspiring model, but also most importantly a broadcaster at heart and just a fun guy. For the longest time in primary, I used to do like pageant. I'll be there, Mr. Bushokum primary school, and then that passed. Then went to high school, and if you remember in high school, I think there's 3 years consistently where I was entering, Mr. to this year, the following year, and the year after. And at some point, I was like, okay, cool, pack it away. That was done. Let's focus on academic side of things. And then 2021, it found me again, whereby, and this was way past high school now. I was hosting a fashion show, and one of the guys who now is actually the one who trusts me, the guy now, his model, I think his muse was not around. One of his guys dropped him last minute, and he's like, listen, can you be what's this? Can you walk the runway for us? I'm like, hey, my guy, I've never done this in a public platform whereby they have to walk like a whole fashion show. I was booked to host. He's like, no man, just try it. I'm pretty sure the outfit, will suit you well. My agreement was we're gonna do the first outfit, and that's it. We did the first outfit, I remember, which was a pair of track suits. We did that, and then after that, he's like, and he's trying to convince me. He's like, the people love you. Let's go and do another one. And then we did the second outfit, and then we did the third outfit until the last outfit. And I thought, this is pretty good. This is something I can do. Then they came a thing of Mr. SA, Mr. South Africa last year, which was sort of like a big, for me, a modeling thing. That's where I was like, okay, now I'm seeing where this is headed. So that's why I always say it found me. It happened that I was in the right place at the right time, hosting the right event, and I was just needed for a good cause. And from there, this is now signed to one of the greatest agencies, and we're trying to find ways as to how we can move around and build like Kananelo as a brand away from business and away from broadcasting. There's a piece that I wrote somewhere that we had, and there's a piece that we had with one of the guys from Lagos, Nigeria. They were doing a cover thing. And honestly, for me, I believe that yes, talent is good. Talent will take you far, but also you need to have the right people around you. If you don't have the right people around you, trust me, it's gonna take years to get there. So even if it's someone who says, I'm not, like I said, I'm not the biggest name right now in terms of modeling career. I'm only testing the waters. I'm only starting now. But what I did was get the right people around me to sort of at least, even if I post or even if who are able to get me a couple of gigs, whether it can be 4 or 3 gigs in a year, but to secure those gigs, at least you need some few people who know that. But also, if there's castings, go there. Be friends with people who are doing that already. just make relationships and also maintain those relationships. Don't just be there for the sake of, okay, you write your bio that I'm a modeler, but then there's nothing that you're giving us. You don't show up for shoots, you never go for castings, you don't interact with people. So my biggest thing, I would definitely say, interact with people, build relationship as possible, as you can with people, but importantly, maintain those relationships, because those relationships will help you take you somewhere. What you see on the surface side of things, when you see on TV or what you see on social media platforms, it's not most of it, actually, it's not real. Most of it is not real. And people like to say, no, people, they only show us fake stuff. Guys, no one shows you when they're going through a hard time. I'm not going to take out my phone and show you unless I'm documenting it and I'm going to make a film about it someday, to show you that, oh no, getting here, this is what was happening. But if I'm not documenting the whole thing, then you won't likely see how hard it is. So one thing I've learned is that it's very hard. It's very hard. There's a lot of rejection also. Sometimes it's like, oh no, you're the right right height, but your skin tone, you want someone who's slightly like this. Or maybe, okay, you have the right skin, but you have a cheese cup maybe, and you're like, oh damn. So it's very the little specifics that they want sometimes also, okay, you have this, but then you want someone who's like this. So it's one thing I can definitely tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. It's definitely not as easy as it looks. You just have to have the right thick skin, grow a thick skin to it. And another thing is, don't necessarily think you will get overnight or instant success or instant recognition. I mean, there are people who have been doing this more than I have. What's this more than me? No, but not myself. We've been doing this for about 7 years, and I tell you, some of them haven't gotten the right recognition that they deserve. But then, because of its love and its passion, they're patient to say, when the right time comes, I will get that. So don't instantly think instant success or instant recognition is going to happen. Unless you are one of the lucky ones, then yeah, it will happen. But if not, trust me, you are going to cry. You're gonna get frustrated. You will suffer. You will get angry. There will be a lot of tears. So be patient about it. It's one of the things. I think to sum everything up, I can say just be patient about it. Simple. I had a lot of insecurities. Remember, this is a big thing. I've never done this. This has never been my thing. My thing has always been business. I love numbers. My thing has always been business or broadcasting. And this is something that found me. And only now, this year, actually, I'm starting to try and find something into it. So there's a lot of comparison sometimes. You get to these castings and you're like, damn, they're definitely gonna pick him over me because he looks more masculine than I do. He has more muscles, he has more something, or his skin tone is more darker than I am. So it's those things whereby it's definitely you get very scared. Some of the insecurities that you never knew you had also kick in. It's like, oh damn, I didn't think I actually have such insecurities. I'm insecure about myself. So sometimes those things, oh no, I have a big head. So all my life I've been told I have a big head. But now when you go to castings and you see people who don't have big heads, you're like, it seems like it bothers you. But then you're like, but I've always known I have a big head, but now suddenly it bothers you because it's like, I want to get this job, but what if they won't take it because of my big head? So it's a lot of insecurities also. And yes, competition it's there, but I always say, unless it's healthy competition, then I might, get over it. You didn't get that, you got that rejection. It was healthy competition, you remember. So you need to learn how to get over it. Just move on to the next one. If there's one thing I did for myself that is good, was to take risk in every single thing. From fresh out of high school to try and be independent on my own, it was a risk already. It was like, why am I throwing myself into the real world? Growing up, I've always been like, protected and whatnot. And actually, everything I do, I only think about it once I'm doing it and to say, why are you doing this again? Only then I'm realizing, no, you've started again. This is one of those risks that you're taking. But also has made me to be more very clear of what I want, and also that grounds me also, because now I know the things that I can associate myself with and not. So look, if you want to get something, you need to take the risk. You need to get out of your comfort zone, and that is what I always do. Taking risk definitely has taught me patience also. It's also taught me that things don't go accordingly also. And once you get that you know what, the results might not be the same as how I anticipated it, it's okay. But what matters is I tried. That is good enough for me. I take modeling as broadcasting and music. So you can't be stereotyped to one thing. Even with modeling, you cannot be stereotyped to one look or to one, I only want to become this. During the course of Mr. SA, just that right now I know the pictures are no longer there because I was like, this is not me. Most people were texting me like, this is not you. We're seeing you now with what's this advertising for underwears? What's going on? And I was like, that's the thing also it comes with. And there are people who I will respect, they'll say, I'll stick to this. But there are people who are like me, who is very open-minded, to new things, especially if I see that a certain formula is not working. So it means I need to change something else, to attract brands if I want to work with brands, to attract, partners, also business partners if I want to work with them. So that's the thing with me. I take modeling as much as I take broadcasting and music. Even in music, if you work in radio, you can't say I only listen to deep house and you want to work in radio. Listen to deep house. What's gonna happen if you have to listen to Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin, Amanda Black, Glenn Jones? What's gonna happen to you? You will be frustrated. So even with modeling, try to tap into as many things as possible. Whether you wanna do commercial, whether you wanna do a leg model, when you wanna do a runway, try to just see where, play around basically. Don't just stick to one thing and say, this is what will bring me something. Take as many things that are good that will help you get there. And once you've built that and you've solidified to say, this is what I want, then even people, when they come to you, they know that, no, I only want to be a runway. But at least coming up, you took this, that. But now once you're that Naomi Campbell or once you are David Beckham, it's a thing of, now I'm only doing this. I'm only open for this. So don't try to be too stereotyped about it. Be open-minded and see, maybe, play around, feel around. You never know what will actually work for you at the end. You might think this will work for me, only to find out that one thing you're avoiding is the one that actually works for you at the end. So yeah, don't try to be too stereotyped. That's what for me, my advice. One thing I'll always get irritated of is someone who's late. You plan everything, man. You just need to know how to plan. If I say tomorrow I'm meeting up with Spanbani at 11, I try to make it that I'm there maybe 15 minutes prior to meeting them, unless there will be an emergency that will make me that late. And even so, I will communicate to say, I will probably be late with 5 minutes, not with 20, but with 5 minutes. So what I do, if let's say from here I need to be somewhere, I will check the distance and the minute it's likely to take me before I confirm to say, let's meet at 12. If something that I'm doing finishes at 12 and I'm supposed to meet someone at maybe 12:30, I will say, let's do 1. So I will check time to say, it might take me 20 minutes. So I will probably arrive there at 20 past 12. Now it gives me enough time. Maybe I have like 30 minutes to cool down, sit, wait for that person. That's what I always do. Time for me is very important. If you don't keep time, it don't come anywhere near me. Don't come anywhere near me. Because I also, man, it's just a matter of that old say of, don't do something that you wouldn't like being done to you. Because I respect people's time, because that person could be doing something with their time. And now they're sitting there waiting for me and whatnot. So for me, it's a thing that I always try to respect time as possible as I can. It's a big thing for me. Like, it's a big thing for me. Respect my time and I respect your time. Simple. I got to start my business through networking. That's how I started my business, through networking. I was networking most of my time. It's something that plays a big role also in terms of growth as a person. You need to throw yourself into the lion's den. Yeah. You don't know what you're gonna find, but you need to throw yourself into the lion's den and sometimes I don't like attending these networking functions because we get there and we promise each other things. I'll give you a call. 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 We exchange cards and whatnot. We need to work. We need to work. And then boom, 6 months down the line, we haven't done anything. And for me, if you're in a room like that, try Hore, if you took 10 cards, out of those 10 cards, at least have 2 or 3 people that already you're planning on working with them. But also those networking relationships that you make, maintain. Don't just take someone's number and then the number is just there, you save them, and you're only trying to reach out when you need something. I'm not gonna help you when you only reach out when you need something, because the process, the build up now, it's different. But when there was maintenance of the relationship that we made, it's a build up now to a point where you won't even have to ask me for something. I will now say, listen, do you need help with A, B, and C, and D before you even ask me? Because there was we made the network, we maintained it, and there was a build up to that. It has made us comfortable with each other to say, before you even ask of help, to say, listen, I am attending A, B, C, and D. Do you want to come with? So networking for me plays a big role in every department of my life, from friendships, from every single relationship. You need to know how to network and maintain those relationships. It's that simple. I believe in doing things that you love. And this is where the thing of personal thing comes in. Before I venture into anything, I try to look as personally, is this something that fits me? Is this something that I don't love? If it's something I don't love, I'm not gonna do it. So even that's the same case with other brands that I've probably worked with. It's if a cologne brand approached me and said, we want this, because it's colognes, it's something that I'm crazy about, I'm definitely going to work with them. You see, because it comes from a personal point of view. I know that from my personal point of view, I'm obsessed with colognes. So for me, that's the only time I think there's a link up between business side of things and my personal side of things. But when I have to run a business, I have to make decisions from a business side, not from a personal point of view, with emotions. I put my emotions aside, and now it's time to make this decision. The only time there's a link up is if I have to think to say, this that I'm doing, how does it link with me personally? I'll make an example. Have you seen certain commercials on TV of they will take someone and say, okay, here's a product, maybe a product, are used just for your body, a body lotion product.
Yeah, I've seen them.
You can't say names. But then sometimes they use people who hardly even use the product. For instance, right now, if Vaseline says to me, come work with us, I would go, because I've been using Vaseline since I was young. I still apply it throughout all seasons. So that's the only time where there's a personal link attached to business. But besides that, I always try to make sure that I don't hinder the two. I always try to separate the two, to say, okay, this is personal, this is my own life, and this is time for business. The only time it will link up is if I need to associate myself with something that means something to me personally also, and I love it personally. So that's the only time. Oh, I think the first thing, and this was insane, the first thing was during high school. And remember, with us, art was never a big thing at our school. It was never a big thing, football, soccer was a big thing, but things like arts or any other sports, cricket and whatever, it was never a big thing. And I loved the art so much, because even during GET level, I would try to participate when there's drama and whatnot, and that was me. I think the one thing for me that was big was post high school, and I received a call from this lady who, her name, I'll never forget her name and her voice, Kitumeti. She was working at 5, and she was working at 5 FM SABC. I remember that day so well. It was a Monday. I was playing The Soil. I was playing an album of The Soil, and I was sitting there back home. And she's like, hey, this Kananelo Rathebe. I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, no, you've been selected to be one of the people who will come and do a whole full mentorship at our station, 5 FM SABC. And at first I'm like, nah, this is a scam. Like SABC calls me, like, nah, this is a scam. There's no way this is real. But I think when they sent me an email and everything, like I said, I've always known that I love broadcasting. I love radio so much. Even, never mind on being behind the mic, but even the production side of things, from being a program manager, sometimes I see myself as that. From being a station manager, I would like to be at some point a station manager. From being all of those things, and I would be like, this is what I wanted. I would sleep and wake up listening to radio when I was growing up. But to get that call, that's one of the achievements. I remember first day, and I was even overdressed because I was scared. I had like a whole shirt on, white, crisp white, everything. You know those Chelsea boots from Markham. Only to find that no, you are overdressed. This is radio. This is not corporate. But that for me, that was a full circle moment to say, damn, here's a boy from a very intimate town who just literally got closer to his dreams. He never believed that one day he would. We grew up watching SABC. But here I was walking inside the building of Radio Park and seeing the whole reception and being like, no, I'm Kananelo Rathebe and I'm here for this. And they're like, oh no, you should be in that room. So that was one of the most achievements. Even the last day of it, I remember when they gave us a whole thing, a thank you and everything, even some of the gifts and even the certificates and everything to show that, yeah, you were part of us. The last day was nothing. But the days in between, whereby you attending the meetings, everything, where you sit down, they're planning shows, working the days, they're planning this and that, and you're like, I'm actually being part of this right now.
This is happening.
And I think seeing all the public figures for me, it was not it. And I remember even there's a guy who, his name was also Kananelo. I remember we were having a conversation and he's like, hey, people are taking pictures and whatnot. And he's like, hey, why are you not taking pictures? And I said something to him. I said, these people are going to be my colleague at some point, whether it's 10 years from now. So I love their work, but I see them as future colleagues. And I'm not going to be, yes, I'm a friend, but I'm not going to be like, hey, oh, you Tando, hey, you Roger Goods, hey, no, you Nick Cannon, hey, you Anelam Daughter, hey, you Dino Ranaka, Thomas. No, I was like, nah, this is something at some point. I will sit with them and be colleagues and have a proper conversation like this right now. I grew up loving Roxy so much. And I remember I was sitting next to her. They were planning a whole event. I'm listening to Roxy and I'm like, I would watch Roxy on E Entertainment. I would watch Roxy and listen to Roxy, and I'm sitting next to Roxy and we are planning something. That was one of the achievements I will never forget. Definitely a full circle moment from listening to a certain station to being a part of it, to being shown how a show is done, to being taken through the whole entire thing, working around the studios of SABC, seeing how shows like Movangos are being shot, looking at them as they shoot also, all of those things. It was like, yeah, went from a very intimate town, now you are here, my boy. So that was definitely one of the achievements for me. I think it's one that I will hold close to my heart forever and always. There isn't much also to advise them on, from me personally, because I'm still new, like I said, this is something that found me. I was just doing business things, and boom, someone that happened to be the right place at the right time, they're like, hey, do this for us. For me, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a business person, but it goes back to what we were saying: network, put yourself out there, have castings, find right agencies. Yes, there are agencies that are, once off one night, but research, because there are people who will find an agency, but you don't do a research about it. That's how people get scammed these days. And it's not because they are naive or stupid, but it's because of desperation. When you're desperate for something, you end up falling for the wrong thing. Someone says, oh, I will help you build you, and you believe them, and you fall for that without doing research. So for me, definitely, I do a lot of research in everything. I will even ask some of my friends to verify something for me. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this, can you verify this for me? If I have to call, I'll call and say, this is the answer they gave me, can you call and ask them what I just told you right now, and come back with an answer? So that is what I do. I do my research. If it has to take me 2 weeks to do research, I'll do that clearly. I remember during Mr. SA, there were other people who were running for Mr. SA, but they didn't have social presence. You find one picture that has been posted in 2018 and you're like, do you think people are going to vote for you? Let's be honest. There's only one picture. You're trying to put yourself out there and you want people to believe that you are worthy of being an ambassador of something, but you don't have social media presence. You don't have nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So try to build a social media presence. I'm not saying get naked for the world. No. But try to associate yourself. Attend events sometimes if you have to. Also ask. Sometimes you can even walk up to an event, you are not invited. You see their content, like, can I create content for you? I've done that before. Like, hey, can I create it for you? That okay, cool. And I take out my phone, I do that, and I tag them on something, and then boom, that's pretty much me. that is pretty much me. I think that's the one time I say fake it till you make it. That's where it only applies. Just become what you want to be. Think it and then you become that. So that's pretty much what I would tell the next person who wants to venture into modeling. It was weird. It was very weird. The only last time I did a pageant was in high school. I remember it was myself, but one of who are my friends and brothers now, Boliburu, Karabelo. It was all of us, and that was the last time we did pageants. Me and like all of us, that was the last time we did pageants. And then now, years later, here comes something that's so big like Mr. South Africa, and it's like, let me see what I can do here. I remember I took out my things, send my applications and my photos and everything, whatever that is required. I'm like, there's many people who are gonna enter, and then boom, next thing you know, you are selected. Next thing you know, it goes from top something to top 100 to top 80, and you're like, hey, I'm still safe. What's going on? Top 60, top, you're like, hey, I'm still safe. But I think the beauty of it was seeing the support from home. I think that was the beauty of it. I remember my mom sending me a picture of issue, the Eastern Free State issue. And she's like, hey, we see you here. I remember speaking to the Sekho, the guy who's part of the newspaper,
yes,
and everything. And I was like, it was when you stumble upon something like, I didn't think this would be something like this. And also, I think the beautiful thing for me was there are people who did not know of it, especially even from home, but it made them to like know about Mr. SA, whereby they're like, oh, there's Mr. SA. And that's the one thing I like to do, introduce people to new things. When they don't know them, they're like, oh, so there's this. And listen, I had the time of my life there. There are people that till today we still communicate. There are people we build a relationship with, whether others lost, we won or whatnot, but we still communicate as often as we can. We still try to meet up, link up whenever we can. So that's one of the beautiful things, is that it builds not just relationship from a personal point of view, but relationship whereby in the next couple of years they will be of use for both myself and even those included also involved. So it was the best time. I don't want to lie. I had the best time.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I had the best time there. Me, I'm just like, you have good genes, guys. Someone who's like training at the gym, they will tell you, not supposed to drink this, it has too many calories, what. And me, I'm just like, you have good genes from home. I'm just like, you have good, because me, when I live here, I'm gonna have putupap and inkomasi. That's what I'm gonna have. And so I was like, hey, you're not supposed to have that. I'm gonna want muhodu. That's me. That's me. You see, those are some of the things that I want. Because I don't want to be like. And that's why for me, like I said, modeling in towards if so because of this business side of things, that's where my most focus is at. I try to work out. I'm not gonna lie, I recently started going to the gym. Official, I was like, what the hell are you doing now? Salakism to the gym. Like cricket, sports shop. It's what I have to do also to fit the look. And I hate that, and I hate even I have to use that, because I want us to get to a point whereby you don't have to look a certain way to be considered a model. I was watching Miss Universe. I remember the finale of it. I'm not sure, I speak under correction. Was it Netherlands or somewhere? Their queen, their reigning queen there, was a plus size model. And she was the only one on stage. But I was so happy. I remember she was wearing like a light bluish swimwear thing. And I was glad to say, I'm glad that the direction that we're taking. This thing of you have to have a six-pack, you have to have a flat tummy, you have to have, bit of guns here and there. At some point, I really hope we get to a point whereby all people with different body types can be considered as a model. As long as you can do the work that is required, I just hope we get, I know that, I hate to use the word like sex appeal sells for other people, but I just hope at some point we sort of discredit that and we just give people a chance, man. Just give someone a chance, because now what happens is that it makes other people who were not even into gym or whatnot go there to kill themselves at the gym just to look the part. And you can imagine you going to the gym to kill yourself and you don't get whatever that you're trying to do. So it's like double homicide now. You're killing yourself at gym and this thing is also killing you. So I just hope at some point there's room for everyone to be considered that, okay, as long as you can do what is required of you, as long as you can walk the runway, as long as you can pose, as long as you can do this, you are also to be considered a model at some point. Might not be now, but I hope at some point we'll get there. Be passionate about something, but also let people know of what it is that you works for you. What is something that works for you, you know. And if something makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. It's that simple. I'll never do anything that makes me uncomfortable. Someone can ask me, say, no, let's do this. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. My first no is my last no. Don't say no. If I say no, it's simple as that. So don't get yourself or throw yourself into things that will make you, when you sit at night alone, you're like, ish, what was I doing? Now you're losing yourself because you're trying to please other people. You're trying to please brands. You're trying to please whoever is involved. So just do things that makes you comfortable at first before they make the other person comfortable. That's it. Olady'S ginger juice is a baby of mine. It has stopped trading. It's been 2 years now. Stopped trading, and not because I wanted to, but to unforeseen circumstances. And it's a baby of mine. It's still there. It's still registered and everything, and it will come back. I'm hoping as soon as next year. I was hoping now December, but I saw that I had too many commitments, and I don't want to now find myself letting something go in drain just because I'm focusing on the next thing. The concept actually is quite crazy how it came about. It came about during the season where I was still at 5, right? During the season I was still at 5 FM, and my grandmother would just make khamere for the sake of it, you know. I think my uncle was saying, nah man, just to try you get a chelete or whatnot. I love money, like I said. I love money. I was like, guys, this is not gonna work, you know. And shortly after the 5FM thing, came home, I thought of something like, okay, maybe I can do ABC and D and D and D and D and D and D. And at that point, it didn't have a name. It was just the Khamer, I think, at that point. And then, boom, Olady'S came to birth. You know, there was change of bottles. If you remember, those blue bottles. Then now it's Olady'S, there's stickers, there's everything. I started trading weeks, I think a week or a couple of days, 3 days before COVID hit us. Already there was COVID, but before the first lockdown. And I made so much of Olady'S, only to find out they're gonna shut us down because there's COVID and everything. There's level 5, whatnot. And I was so frustrated, but I remember I took it to the street. I called a cousin of mine who was staying with us at the time, and 2 of my very close, I would say they're like family now, Gege Chachi and Lerato Chachi also, like, listen, we're doing this. And I remember as we got to the robots, the Mpahla robots, some of my friends came, Zinhle, Lishono, they're like, let's sell this. And we saw that we have people, Abonipo, who they all came and they're like, let's sell this. And I was like, that first day I was quite impressed. I was like, I'm gonna come back again to the corner until they close us to lockdown. During lockdown, I noticed that, okay, I'm gonna be quite frustrated if I sit and do nothing. That's when the conversation with the restaurant here at home began to say, hey, this is what you guys are an African cuisine restaurant, and this is what the drink is all about. Let's try to pair things and make things as one. And eventually we reached an agreement, and through the agreement, that's when people started to see or know of Olady'S, there's Olady'S ginger juice and whatnot. And I think the shocker of it was when people find out that, oh, you know how to make it. I'm like, yeah, guys, it's a skill that my grandma taught me. Because most people will also be like, nah, the one who's making it. They're like, nah. I'm like, look, growing up, my grandma would teach us, even not just my grandma, but people in my family, they will teach us a variety of things. And for me, my mind, I love my mind. Once it sees something, it's here, it's locked until I remember as many things from when I was in primary, even in crèche. That's my mind. So you show me something now, it's locked in. I will do it even when you wake me up. So that was how it was introduced. We did that, and yeah, at some point it stopped. And I could see when it was about to stop, because there was an edge for me to hit the market, to hit the shelf. There was things like Woolworths. I remember Woolworths was also running initiative, also, trying to come and take what's this locally owned businesses, and there's that, there's Spa, there's this. But now the problem was there was money going out than money coming in. And now that is money from my own pocket. Remember, this was a self-funded thing. There was no capital, there was no funding from anyone. I don't have a negative outlook with this whole process of trying to get funding, but the problem for me is you just know the process also, that this is what's going to happen, and it takes you back and forth. It sort of raises your hopes high, like finally I'm going to get this, and then you don't get it at the end. And that was the problem that I had with them. And also there was this thing of applying for licensing, of subs also, trying to get the testing, all of those things. It requires money that at some point I don't have. Remember, I'm not living home. Now I have to take my rent money and say, you know what? Probably I'll have it in the next 10 days. Let me try and send it to these people and see if something can be created. And you do that, and then boom, you don't get the returns. I had to make a conscious decision to say, I'm going to bring it back on my own terms. But also when I bring it back, I need to bring it back in a way that it was worth the wait. It's no longer just what I was saving, because there are some few things also that are coming. That's why right now I've been like trying to plan everything. There are new things that will be introduced under the whole umbrella, the business umbrella also, that I think people would love, that I've been trying to link up with people. Currently I've been speaking with people also from Proudly SA. I know how much they love local brands also. They try to protect and also help local brands. So we're some in discussions, and we're trying to see also these new things that I'm trying to introduce. How can they be brought to life, and which way or which route to sort of also take as to bringing them. But yeah, that's how the story of Olady'S also began. Last year there were hiccups with some of the others, but I think on the last day of Christmas, I got messages also. Got messages like people were like, okay, we've received our orders. And that was the first time I actually breathed. I was like, oh damn it. my clothes, I think my family would see how frustrated I am. And that's the annoying thing. I remember there's a point I was like, I wish I was away from them, because now you are home, but there are things that are happening also that side, and you're like, your frustrations, now the people close to you have to deal with that, your friends have to deal with that. They're like, I'm like, hey, businesses are falling apart right now. And but the last day of it, I was like, now I can breathe and enjoy my holidays finally. So I'm still doing it. It's probably one of those achievements thing where I'm like, wow, and it feels good. As for Mpahla, as you asked, Mpahla, I love shoes. I love sneakers. Listen, I told sneakers, timepiece, cologne, that is me. Caps, that is me. The Mpahla thing, I remember, it was supposed to be not a once-off thing necessarily. It was supposed to be someone who backs me up for Mr. SA only. If I lose Mr. SA, they were supposed to walk away. And with me, I'm a visionary. I like long-term longevity. And I had a choice to say, these people, if I move from Mr. SA, then they're also gonna move from me. Which was basically what we were told to tell them. And for me, it was a thing of, but I want longevity. And also because I love the brand. It's a brand that I was always looking at for the longest time. And when the opportunity came, I was like, that was the first brand. I was like, there's so many sneakers out there, but there's a brand that I've been looking at for the longest time because of the origin of its story, how authentic it is. Also the name, it's just like, come on, guys. Mpahla. And also you remember, here's a boy who comes from a very intimate town, doesn't have much following, and he tells you that I want to partner with you guys in an already existing business. It's a risky thing for someone to allow you into that space and be like, okay, let's work. It's a very risky thing. And for me, I was bold enough to say, I'm gonna take this risk. The thing with me, I will take a no for an answer when I have outsourced all my resources. When we met, that's when I laid everything on the table. I remember we met at some mug and bean and laid everything on the table. I remember the guys were like, you know what, at this point, let's work. Let's bring you into the family. Let's work. And it has been nothing but short of amazing. Definitely.
Oh.
That goes without saying. I'm one person who starts something, and I would like to. I don't start something only to just leave it behind. I start something with the intentions of finishing it off. I think Olady'S will exist until I die. God forbid it happens anytime soon. But it's one of those things where I think there's great joy when you know ownership to something. And also because the business initially, when I registered, it was the umbrella of it is not just the ginger juice, which is one of the reasons why I had to move to Cape. I have hopes and dreams of eventually someday having a part of a vineyard. If I don't have it, I will bring it here in Free State. I'll have my first vineyard. There will be a first vineyard in Free State by me if I must do that. But also because of I love wines, I love MCCs, and that's why also the business, and that's why even with me the strategic move to move to Cape Town. I wanted to be closer to something that's like, this is how they make wines. This is how they do A, B, C, and D because of under the Olady'S thing. I hope at some point we will have wines. We'll have maybe from 10 years, 5 years from now. But I hope at some point we'll have such things, different things whereby people will be like, this was started with one bottle of ginger. Now it has many things. That's what I want from it. So it's definitely gonna come back. I think it would be nice if I'm boarding maybe or Air Link or Lyft SA or SAA and comes out my own bottle of wine when they offer passengers and I'm just sitting there without even anyone knowing it's my wine. I think those are some of the things I look at, like, you fly Emirates and they pop out the bottle and they say, would you like a bottle of Chardonnay, sir? And then when you look at that, it's mine. I think those are some of the things. Or would you like a bottle of ginger, sir? Bottle of water? And when I see that it's mine thing, water, you want water? Or I walk into a store and I see that I walk into big establishment and I see something of mine. I think those are some of my future plans, just to every corner that I go to or I am at, I just see a bit of me. That is what I want. A bit of me in every corner. I want people to have a bit of me in their homes, in their lives, everywhere. And that's what I want. That is what I want. Man, I'll definitely give a special shout out first for my family, because they were patient with me. We had to fight for my family to back me up. They slowly gravitating towards what I'm about. Only now, I'm seeing it now, whereby they slowly getting a glimpse of what I want. We fought for years with my family, not them getting what I want. Because I'm someone, like I said, if I put my mind into something, I do not care who's in front of me. You are my mother, you are who. Hey, if I want something, I want something. So definitely the first shout out I will definitely give to my family and to you guys, my close friends also, for being patient also with me. And even when I dream and I made you guys aware of my dreams, there would never be a moment where you're like, oh, that is too big. They will be like, okay, go do that. So my friends, definitely you guys, my close friends, my family also, and even my past relationships, because I've been lucky to have partners or to have people that I've dated who also sort of see the good in me and push me to say, you will get this also. And man, my teachers also, my teachers from primary, from preach until in tertiary life also. Definitely, I'd also like to give them a shout out also, because they will always see the good in me and be like, your dreams are valid, my boy. You can do this. And obviously my hometown also, Bethlehem, Boshokong, also even neighboring towns, and every single person who supports Kananelo, business partners, social media friends, social media acquaintances, social media people that I come across, every single person who sees Kananelo and say, he's doing good, and who's not afraid to give me a tap like, hey, you're doing good actually, my boy. I think every single person who has good intentions for me, that is where my shout out will go to, dead or alive. Even your audience, that they will take their time watching this also, and man, just everyone, man. Everyone who wants good for me as Kananelo Rathebe. That is where my shout out will go to. All of that is not possible besides God. Everything, I think even in my prayer, the one thing I always ask for is the gift of life. Because everything that I want or desire, I can only have it if I have the gift of life. And the gift of life is a Horamasedi. So definitely, even to God, it's not even a shout out, it's a big thank you. Man, it's just thank you every day, Hore. You give me life to do what I can do, to get where I want to get. So definitely, man, just God, family, friends, and every single person who wants to see me do good. Big also shout out to you, what you're doing, everyone with the team here, man. I wish nothing but blessings upon you guys. Nothing but blessings upon you guys. And thank you for having me also here.
I'm at the peak of all my energies. Keep it cooler underwater. Keep on feeling pressure, but I know pressure make a diamond. Never panic, no. It's my time to shine. Never fumble, hold my grip, oh yeah. I've been there, done that, 10 toes, fully in. Switch lanes, I did that, did no more. Running back, I trust in God until I go off. Hey, I trust in God until I go off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.